All right, perfect. Yo. What up, everybody in Twitter world? Back with another fucking stream here with my boys Gambler for Loco. I think we're going to have Bra on here in just a second. I think he's at the gym. He's just getting some stuff squared away. But hope everybody in the chat, we already have a bunch of people in here. I posted the stream in the channel today, so I know there's a lot of people from the Boss Man Calls Telegram channel. Hope everybody's having an amazing fucking day, an amazing week so far. First of all, Gambler for Loco, how's everyone doing?
Brother, I'm doing all right. Big news this week with the stocks finally going on chain, getting closer to that tokenized everything future. And then, a lot of coins and actually stocks that we've been talking about are cooking as well. So a lot of things to discuss today.
Amazing. I don't know. I don't know whose sound. Maybe that drowned it out. I think we're good, but amazing. Yeah. For Loco, how you doing, brother?
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, can hear you loud and clear.
Can you hear me? Okay, perfect. Yeah, I'm doing well, man. As Gambler was saying, we've had a pretty busy start of the week already. With the announcements from Robinhood yesterday, and obviously Solana on chain stocks. That can be very interesting. And then, of course, in the macro side of things, we have, the Fed and Elon fighting Trump as usual. So we're headed to a very exciting week that I can't wait to get down to it and chop it up with you guys. So it's a great week so far.
Awesome. Nice to hear you. Bro, are you with us, brother?
Yes, sir. Got it handled, I think. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. I can hear you pretty well.
Okay, perfect.
You just at the gym right now?
Yeah, I'm just in the stairs for a little bit, so that should be good.
Right on, brother. We appreciate you for being on with us. But we see
bro.
everybody.
I'm glad to be here.
How's your week been, bro?
Oh, it's been great, bro. I think we pretty much called the bottom last stream, no?
Of what, Son or?
No, just like it was like Pangu, San, Melania.
Yeah, a lot of stuff. Yeah, a lot of stuff ran up. Yeah, we'll definitely go over that. That's funny, Melania, what you were talking about ran up after this stream, but we'll definitely be talking about that. But yeah, appreciate you for being on, brother.
Yes, sir. I'm unmuted again.
But Embermain, what's up, brother? See you in the chat. What's up, Pablo? What is up, Jay? What is up, Quinkies? What is up? Dude, I see a lot of people I know from the Telegram channel. LX Lady, what's up? But yeah, crazy last few days. Pretty interesting last few days since we were on the stream. We did move up a little bit since then, but then Bitcoin, which let me share my screen actually here. Bitcoin, since Friday when we were last on, crept up a little bit more, but is coming down kind of hard today. We'll go over the two scenarios here where I think Bitcoin is going to go. Both of them involve Bitcoin ripping much higher in the next few weeks. But, we see a lot of people, because we're kind of coming down here at the all-time high or at the high from January, they kind of automatically assume that this is a double top. But to me, this is an obvious corrective coil up or a corrective channel with just exhibiting corrective behavior, very similar to what we saw back in January to April, but on like a smaller scale, right? So just like we saw in from January to April, we coiled back and came down here, and then Bitcoin exploded. Think the same exact thing's going to happen here. This time, Bitcoin will rip above all-time highs and ignite that kind of alt season, or at least a meme coin season, just like we saw in the summer of 2023 and 2024. I think the same thing's going to happen here. Now, what does Bitcoin do in the short term? It could do one of two things. It could either come down here like I have depicted here in the chart, where it comes back down to around 100K, maybe down to a 95, as low as 95, kind of forms that last low in the corrective channel I was talking about, and then rips higher. Or what a lot of people are thinking, that, maybe it stops here and just rips straight from here. I think either are possible. But if it does come down to 95K, I think that may be one of the last opportunities. And again, not to create FOMO, like not financial advice, all of that. This is just the way I view it. I think this may be one of the last opportunities to load up on the alts, memes, whatever else you have conviction in. Because just like I said in 2024 and 2025, when Bitcoin started heading up here in September, November of last year, that's when all the memes started to rip. We saw some alts start to rip. And then in November, we start to see normies actually. And when I say normies, I just mean people who are outside of crypto start to come in through TikTok and all these other places. I think we're going to see the same thing here whenever this does bottom out and Bitcoin does rip higher. So, I put out a tweet here today. I think, like I said, if Bitcoin does give us this final leg down, again, not financial advice, will be loading up on, alts, memes, like I've continued to, because again, I think this may be one of the last opportunities to do that before we rip higher. And I think it's been really calm right now, even with Bitcoin going up the last few months. But anybody who's been around for, any of these hype cycles or any of these cycles before, when things start to get going, there's a lot going on. So, yeah, that's kind of the way I see the majors playing out, whether we go down here in the short term or not. I think the next few weeks to the next few months, I think Bitcoin, ETH, Sol, and a lot of the memes and alts that we're looking at are going to be way higher come the end of the year. For Loco, I want to see the chat really buzzing here, but for Loco, what are your thoughts on what's going on here the last few weeks? I know you made a couple posts about, quantitative easing and maybe money printing, which we'll talk about. But what are your thoughts in general on Bitcoin and everything else?
Yeah, look, it's actually been a couple of very bullish weeks, but we are undergoing significant stuff on the macro, like challenges, right? On the macro side of things, like we saw the U.S. money supply still jumped. I think it jumped about 4.5% year over year. There's obviously these concerns. Elon Musk is being very vocal about the debt ceiling. Then the Fed is speaking today, signaling potential stagflation. Right? It's not saying that we are currently in an stagflation, but we can get to that point with a few factors affecting. And so on the macro side of things, I think even though we try to say that Bitcoin is less correlated to risk assets, it's definitely starting to feel a little bit like, I guess, a few things, right? Like you obviously have near all-time high prices, right? Perhaps you also have a little bit of that, mental resistance, right? At that 108, 109,000 level. Then you have the de-risking because the Fed spoke today, and there's a bunch of stuff going on between him and Trump and potential Fed chair succession, which I don't know if it will happen. But then you also have the stocks dipping today, and then of course profit taking that always takes place at the end of the month, beginning of the next. Plus, if you want to call, or you want to add people, de-risking because of the 4th of July holiday here in the U.S. So I think in general, this is there's no any reason to be concerned from my perspective yet. I know people were expecting us to break all-time highs, especially after yesterday's news from Robinhood and a bunch of other funds adding BTC to their treasury. But I think it might take a little bit long. We're pretty much aware of situations like this. We saw last year we were ranging for many months, and hopefully we don't have to go through that, and we have a better July than last year. But there seems to be a little bit of macro instability. With the Middle East not being yet fully resolved,
Yeah.
and of course everything happening right now on the macro side of things. So just a little bit of correction, profit taking going on. I do think that, as you mentioned, we might test a little bit lower levels, but I think we're going higher after that. So
Yeah.
no concern.
Absolutely. Great points. Great points. Yeah. And a lot of people, I think that a lot of the narrative, the kind of the FUD kind of shifted towards, oh, we're going to go back down to 50K because of tariffs, to now I'm seeing a lot of people say, oh, we're going to chop for multiple months. We're going to be here for another year, just ranging between 100K. And I just don't see it. I think we're coiling up here, just everything on the charts, as well as everything obviously going on fundamentally, which with Robinhood and everything, which we will talk about here in a second. I think it's very obviously anything can happen, but I think it's a lot more likely that we rip higher in the next few months. But
Yeah, I think people also like some have memory of last cycle where we made a new all time high just for us to lose all momentum right after. So there's a
Oh,
lot of
that
people that
double,
are,
the famous double
and
top. Yeah.
yeah. We were like, we're going higher, new all time high, and then we went straight into a bear market. So
yeah,
we'll
no,
see. I mean, but then we should absolutely send once we clear this like 110-ish resistance, right? That's like real price discovery. I think all time high is what, like 111, something
yeah,
like that.
exactly. Yeah, I think 112, a little bit different depending on the exchange, but yeah, I remember a few months ago, Max, and we were talking about, and that there's probably going to be some type of struggle at this all-time high, and anytime there's a multi-month high on the charts, there's usually going to be some type of resistance or some type of dip at it, correction. This one just happens to be a little bit longer, like a multi-week one, but yeah, like Gambler said, I think once we clear 110, 111, Bitcoin enters price discovery. I think that's when we see memes and everything else take off. But with that, Andre says, miss the weekly streams. Andre, we've been doing these streams for the most part. We've taken a few 1 week off here a couple weeks ago, but been doing them twice a week. If for those of you just hopped on, we do these streams twice a week, Tuesday at 1 p.m. PST like today, and then Friday a little bit earlier at 10 a.m. PST. We talk about everything going on in the markets, majors, whatever else. We have people on to tell their story. Like last week, we had JLK, who is on the team of Son, one of the coins we've been talking about. Love to hear other people's perspectives. And then obviously you guys in the chat are a huge part of this show. So we appreciate you with the comments and questions and everything like that. So definitely turn on post notifications so you don't miss a stream, and follow everybody on the panel. But with that being said, I do want to, like I said, I do think Bitcoin, ETH, Sol do move higher in the next few weeks, which will probably ignite um, a run in the alts and memes and other stuff, which we'll talk about here in a little bit. Let's go ahead and talk about Robinhood, obviously, which was huge news yesterday. First, I want to get to the chat to make sure I'm not missing any comments or questions. What's up, Embermain? Embermain says people always get scared for no reason and sell all their bags at every little correction. Yeah, it seems like most people, their whole bias or perspective is the last few weeks of price action alone, which I mean it's hard to escape that, obviously, when you see these big price movements. But yeah, you gotta build a like a bias and analysis that's deeper than just like price action, recent price action. There's quite a lot of liquidations on the heat map at 105K. I'm quite certain we'll get there soon. Yeah, 105K above us, above where we're at right now. Yeah. Oh, okay. I get right below where we're at. Yeah, I think there's a good chance that if we go much lower, that this was a local kind of top, and that we move back down into the mid to low 90s. Yeah, I came in here as a normie. That's what's up. Yeah, we all started as normies, and normies isn't like I'm talking down to it. I just mean people who aren't normally crypto native. Guys, if somehow Trump gets rid of Jerome, it's going to be glorious. Yeah. Wow. Lots of chat interaction today. Lots of people asking questions. We really fucking appreciate you guys. I am going to do a USDC giveaway for 2 people in the comments of the stream, and then 1 person who is super active in the chat. So, are tokenized stocks bad news for crypto like SPX? We're going to talk about that here in a second too. African, really appreciate that question. Has a CME gap been filled? I think one of them has, a few of them. Everything seems stagnant with the Fed lately, especially after the ECB meeting. Yeah. 700 viewers. Let's go. Yeah, we already have 768 people in here, or at least viewers, throughout this 15 minutes. Again, if you guys could retweet, like, comment on the stream so we can get this out to more people. People not even paying attention, constructive replies. Yeah, 100%. Let's go ahead and talk about Robinhood. I don't even know if is this keynote. Did you hear about this keynote happening for Robinhood coming up before for Loco? Like, did you hear that it was coming? 'Cause I think for me, it was just like came out of nowhere.
Yeah, no. I think they were hinting at some sort of like update, but I didn't know they were going to have an actual meeting in Cannes. So I think that's bullish. I think there was a conference right afterward or before, right? ETHCon or something. So Vitalik was there as well. But yeah, super positive. I mean, when you look at the overview of what the products that they plan to release and they currently released, and you look back in time, you would probably think that this is utopia, right? It's not a real world. But Robinhood really announced a few things, tokenized stocks, particularly in Europe, right, where Europeans cannot buy or trade directly U.S. stocks. So they have now the ability to do so. And then also with private stock trading on chain, because they also plan to launch their own Robinhood chain. So you will be able to trade. And I really don't know how efficient these markets will be and accurate when it comes to liquidity and price fetching, right? Because they're going to be trading 24/5, which is 24 hours, 5 days of the week. But we'll have to see. You'll probably be able to participate in stocks like OpenAI. I guess not OpenAI. Sorry, SpaceX and other privately held companies that are obviously very much anticipated to have big valuations. And then they also are doing staking, offering staking products for certain cryptocurrencies, as well as perp futures, which is available in Europe. But as long as and when the US approves the ability to trade perps, Robinhood will be having that capability, which I think is pretty cool. So I think those were the major, bigger announcements. But you guys have any other thoughts?
Yeah.
I'm happy to hear. Yeah.
Yeah, and you went over it a little bit, but the big ones were tokenized U.S. stocks for both private and public companies, which was pretty crazy. I was watching the video with an interview with David from Bankless, where he was at the keynote, I think, and after interviewed Vlad, and he was just Vlad was just talking about how for most of the private companies, a lot of these private company owners, they're not incentivized to go public, which would make it where the public never gets the chance to like ever get any of that upside. They're just not incentivized to. They don't have to. They can keep collecting money privately, like SpaceX, for example. But these tokenized stocks give access to the public to get upside or exposure to these private companies they normally wouldn't be able to. And again, like Furloco said, there may be some liquidity stuff there or stuff that needs to be worked out. I have no idea, but I thought that was pretty cool. But yeah, I think a lot of they're launching a Robinhood L2 perp futures for Europe, and then ETH and Sol staking, which obviously they've had on Coinbase and all these other exchanges for a while. The big thing is you're seeing a lot of people talk about is tokenized stocks good or like good for crypto? Is it bullish, or is it just further going to extract liquidity from and be in competition with crypto assets? And it's just like the same thing you hear all the time where people say, oh, as time goes on, more altcoins are just going to draw more liquidity. And while there's some truth to that, obviously the bigger the pie, um, most of these coins are going to go to zero. But I think most people are kind of missing the point here is that what this allows, like, tokenized stocks, and what it's going to do is bring in millions of people that normally wouldn't be trading crypto in general, or introduced to, at least, some people that would never trade crypto before, but they're buying tokenized Tesla or whatever on Robinhood, and then they have exposure to crypto, and it just brings them into our universe. So yes, if we had the same demand for now until eternity, of course it would compete with our other coins. But what this allows, and it's just going to bring more mass adoption and more people into crypto in general. So I think it's extremely bullish. And also, a lot of people are saying, "Oh, does Robin? Why do we need this? Why does the user even care if it's tokenized?" And that's not the point either. I think most of this blockchain stuff and the future of blockchain is most people aren't even going to know they're using it. But that's very bullish for the underlying blockchains, the L1s, and the stuff where the transactions are being done on. And again, it's just bullish for crypto as a whole. You just got to zoom out. You realize adoption, more people using crypto assets, is just bullish for great crypto assets in general. So I want to hear what you have to say more on that front for Loco and Gambler, but I'm just extremely bullish. I think this is just leading to more mass adoption for crypto assets, and Robinhood's the biggest kind of quote unquote normie app, and they're kind of preparing for I think a huge onslaught of kind of normies trading crypto again eventually. For Loco, what do you think on that front? Do you think tokenized stocks in general is bullish for crypto, or what are your thoughts?
I definitely think it's bullish long term. I mean, look, if there's something that we have been complaining about, or at least CT, right? Which we always talk about crypto CT as being high alpha, but at the same time, it's always the same people. So I do think that we need more, more people on board here in crypto. So tokenized stocks would definitely bring additional interest from outside of our little world. So overall, very positive. Short term, I don't know what kind of adoption we'll see, but if the ability to trade stocks on chain is happening, is definitely a long term positive. And you also have, Centrifuge, which is an RWA company launching tokenized, the SBS, the S&P 500 also, as well as you had Jupiter and Radium doing the X stocks platform, which we can discuss afterwards. But I think overall, as you mentioned, Brent, I think the bigger the pie, the better. That's what we need to grow here in crypto, because we are pretty much the same, if not less, amount of people that we were a few years ago. So
Exactly. And Clemente, actually, I don't think I'm going to play this whole thing, but definitely go watch what he said. Pretty much kind of what we're echoing, right here. He was saying that it's just people are missing the point. A lot of people, it's going to grow the overall pie of crypto, which is great for everyone. 24-hour stocks trading, exactly, spaced faceless. That's another thing. And I want to hear what Gambler has to say too, but 24-hour stock trading, that's what a lot of people are asking, why tokenized stocks? What does that do? A number of things. It makes it quicker, eliminates fees. On Robinhood now, you're going to be able to trade a lot of these stocks 24/7. Stocks that normally are 20, whatever, only open for 8 hours a day, 5 days a week. They're going to be tradable 24/7. And never before have you, like, correct me if I'm wrong, but never before have you been able to send your stocks to somebody else, right? It's going to allow people to have a tokenized version of Tesla, but if you want to send your fucking mom a fucking $10 in Tesla stock or tokenized Tesla, you can do that as well, which normally you can't do traditionally. So a lot of cool stuff happening on that end. I think this is just the next evolution, and I think eventually all stocks will be tokenized. For Gambler though, what are your thoughts on everything going on with Robinhood?
Yeah, I think this is only the beginning. I'm really excited to see transactions on chain. Like, I would love to see a future where all stock transactions are on chain. I think we'd have less corruption going on behind the scenes with these, politicians getting rich with the insider knowledge that they have. And then I also just think more uses for blockchain tech in general is bullish. I think blockchain tech is one of the coolest things about this space and what Bitcoin and other blockchains have going for it. And tokenizing stocks makes complete sense. Also, the stock itself, which we've been talking about for weeks now, is ripping, man. It made an all-time high the last few days. It touched over $90. So investors are happy. I see Robinhood going higher. That's one I'm watching for sure.
Oh yeah, wow. Uh,
Yeah. Look at that chart.
sorry, let me turn off my notifications. But yeah, no, that is nuts. It's just been ripping straight up for 2 months now, up about 3x. Incredible. But yeah, I would expect Robinhood, Coinbase, Circle, any of these crypto stocks, I think are just getting started. And anything
It
that
reminds me of like, sorry, it reminds me of like the stable coin thing too. I think it acts as like a Trojan horse, or it gets more liquidity in. People are now have like a wallet that they can play with. I mean, there was a meme of someone trading fart coin for Tesla. Like that's ridiculous. That's funny in itself. So, gonna be interesting. Gonna be interesting. And Kraken as well. I think Kraken also announced that they would be doing 24 hour trading on multiple stocks as well. So it's
amazing,
happening.
amazing, amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think it's just important to zoom out here and to realize like this crypto is just makes it's just the next evolution of like so many different technologies. It just makes cuts out the middleman, makes things faster, more efficient. And that's why we're really in like the first true adoption cycle where blockchain and these different technologies like actually truly being adopted for the first time. And that's why this is really exciting. But yeah, 1,000 people already on here within the first 26 minutes. I think we've ever had that before. So shout out to everybody who's coming on. If you're just hopping in, we're just talking about Robinhood, and how bullish it is long term for crypto. If you guys could like, retweet, comment on the stream, shoot everybody a follow on the panel, and definitely leave your comments, questions, chart requests. We'll definitely be checking the chat as well. We appreciate all you guys. A question in the chat is Damien. Shout out to you, bro. Hope you're doing well. Asks, if rates go lower, won't it cause huge inflation? Bad for working people. Yeah. So I don't I don't think rates going lower itself is what causes inflation. They lower rates because inflation's down at their numbers, right? That's probably what's going to continue to happen. Now, if they turn on the money printers, print money in any way, there's a number of ways they can do it. That's probably what would cause inflation again, right? And a lot of people are kind of theorizing that's their plan, like the Trump administration and whatever, is to turn on the printers and kind of inflate away the debt. And in that case, if that does happen, Damien, then yes, you can assume that inflation would go up, which the average working people who are just saving in USD alone, yes, that they would probably be hurting. For Loco, do you have any thoughts on that? I don't know if he's still with us right now, but
Yeah, sorry, I was on mute. Yeah, look, I agree with you. I think that the major issue, which is why we're seeing this new feud, or I guess conflict in between Trump and Elon, and whatever we want to call it, but it's this big beautiful bill spending. It's going to raise the debt ceiling by a lot, and it looks like, I guess from what Elon was saying is Trump has been not true to his campaign. I guess his campaign, where he was saying he was going to do his best to reduce the debt, the sovereign debt. This is actually going to be the biggest concern for U.S. economy. It's really like, I mean, you're seeing the U.S. dollar collapsing at this point. It's probably one of the worst start of the year for U.S. For USD. You can monitor it on the Dixie DXY, and it goes to tell you that yes, whether we have inflation under control or not, just the ability for the government to print more money is just going to keep pretty much debasing the currency. And yes, to some of your questions, definitely puts inflation higher over the long term. I mean, we saw what happened in 2020, right, where inflation didn't show up until many months after, when they turn on the money printer. I think over 30 or 40% of the total debt was printed during COVID, 21 and 22. So just goes to tell you that we might not see it, but unless we have massive GDP growth with AI, I think we're gonna go through a harsh period for most people, right? Unless you are in the AI sector and able to fight this inflation and money debasement. This has been a problem that has been around for a while, but hopefully we are able to find a middle point here where there's not a lot of money printing, and we're able to contain that debt ceiling.
Right on. Yeah, no, it's this Trump Elon thing's crazy. That looks like they made up for a bit and then back to just throwing shots. There's a clip here where Trump was talking about Elon and how he's just mad that how he sees it. He's mad because he's taken out the EV mandate, like Furloco was saying in the big beautiful bill. Elon says it's because the bill was, obviously did the opposite of what they said they were going to do, which was, cut spending or whatever. But yeah, crazy to see the president and the world's richest man just fucking feuding. But yeah, I think a lot of that's nonsense. Like we've said on the streams, it's just, it's fun, it's funny, but I don't think it's really going to have any effect. I think crypto is going to rip higher regardless. I think tariff stuff, again, is just going to become less and less of a thing. There is the tariff kind of what's it called, deadline in 10 or 11 days here, but yeah, thoughts on Sol ETF. Is it bullish? Yeah, any ETFs for any of those bigger coins getting approved is long-term bullish as fuck. Any time we're gonna be able to have people with their 401ks, people who are, have money in funds and hedge funds, it's just more access for people who wouldn't normally get access to crypto are going to get it. So F the dollar, bullish on finite assets. Is Bitcoin at a good level for beginning summer? Yes, I think Bitcoin's coiling up, and whether it's from here or it takes a few more weeks, I think it's going to rip higher. What do you think about this beef between Elon and Trump? For me, it feels like some kind of hidden agenda since the first time after a week they deleted everything about it. I don't know. Who knows? Maybe the world powers that be. Maybe they're just playing a trick on us. Maybe it is real beef. Who fuck it? Maybe it's WWE. Who knows? I have no fucking clue. But it. I don't know. A lot of it does feel though like real. Like when you see Trump, talking, it does seem like, there is real like emotions behind it. So who knows though, dude? I guess it's negative. Don't see
I,
a
I think yeah, Trump always plays defensive. That's the way he does. I mean, when you watch the art of the deal, he always fights whatever someone has to say with one up. Right. That's his method of fighting conflict. And he even like threatened like Elon to be deported, which I think he can't be deported because he's a U.S. citizen, as well as got all his subsidies for his company. So that is the way that Trump operates. But Elon does seem pretty genuine to my understanding. And whether he wants to start a new political party or not, I don't know that will ever happen or if this is even possible. But I do agree that he's very frustrated with the decision of this bill, and I think that's one of the reasons why he was helping Doge, is because he wanted to completely eradicate the misspending and money printing. But at least unreal or like not really responsible levels of money printing and debt issuance. But I don't know what you guys think. To me, I think it's fairly real. How does this affect the economy short term? We will have to see, but volatility definitely coming this summer, from my perspective.
Yeah, I think volatility. I think most of it's going to be to the upside, maybe one more dip, but we'll see. Robinhood will onboard a lot of crypto guys who will be extension onboard normies. Yep, for sure. You're right. These tweets will be deleted again. Tokenized stocks are amazing for people who prefer anonym. Yes, that too, Jay Lee. People who may not want. Yeah, exactly. That's another thing. I don't think there will be a serious dilution of liquidity because people are getting smarter. Dang, almost 1K viewers extremely bullish on Bren. Appreciate you, Nikhil. I'm at the club in London right now, tapped in. Shout out to you, bro. Normie's adoption is always positive for crypto. Yep. Oh, a lot of fucking great comments in here. Ember Main.
Do you agree with that? Do you agree with that? Do you think we're getting smarter?
Um,
Because I don't think so. I think it's actually there's studies that show it's actually the other way around. Uh, so we'll see. But yeah, I don't think. What do you think about that?
yeah, no,
You think we're getting smarter?
that's a great combo, and I'm glad you asked that. I think as a whole, like the market is probably going to get more efficient, right? Just more time in the game. When we're talking about Bitcoin, Sol, just a function of market cap going up, plus the players that are going to step in here, while they're probably going to create a lot of drama and stuff in the news headlines. Like I think market's gonna become more efficient with those guys stepping in. Maybe there
Yeah.
won't be as much volatility, or there might not be as, whatever. With that being said, also at the same time, we're gonna get a lot of normie types, and new people to crypto, which obviously just by default aren't the quote unquote smartest money, right? So I think it's gonna be a lot of both. I think the market's gonna become efficient, while at the same time the meme coins and other stuff are gonna have an influx of new money. So it'll be both sides, right? There'll be Bitcoin ETH Sol will become more efficient and more smarter, and then I think a lot of this new coins for a while will have a lot of not so smart money. So I mean, what do you think?
I think the market's definitely getting more efficient. I mean, that's just I always have faith in the market is the market is the market. I think this kind of ties into the other conversation, and it ties into what Ember's comment was just now as well. That this is what we something along the lines of this is what we've always wanted, and now that we get it, people go bearish. I'm not so sure. I'm seeing at least some conversations and some criticisms and some perspectives on the timeline that like this isn't what we always wanted. And I've only been in crypto for about 4 years or so, so I'd love to hear you guys' takes. But maybe you guys have seen some of the similar criticism of like Bitcoin and crypto is going institutional now, and we're actually going to end up losing a lot of what made Bitcoin so special now that it's in the hands of all these big players. I mean, we mentioned Michael Saylor, or at least MicroStrategy holds actually 2% of the Bitcoin supply, right? If I'm not mistaken, like that's incredible when you think about it. So, what are your thoughts on that, Brandon and for Loco? First of all, like, what do you think about this? Is what we've always wanted. Do you think that's true or not? I think you guys have definitely been around longer than me. And then, what are your thoughts on that conversation of like, are we losing value now that we're going so institutional and there's so much big money involved?
Yeah, yeah, I want to hear what Fur's thoughts too, but I think yeah, so I mean, totally get that. Like, this is what we always wanted. Like, everybody's always talked about, you know, Bitcoin mass adoption or crypto mass adoption, and definitely now that we're getting there, people are still looking for ways why we're going to go down and stuff like that. And I think it just comes down to like most people again just are focused on what's happening in price action in the last few weeks, and it's really easy for people um to just focus only on that and not the wider things. And that's why I think I talk about this so much in my tweets and everything like that. It's because of course we could go down in the short term, and a lot of times we do get volatility to the downside, but everything that's happening in crypto right now is just extremely fucking bullish, and is not only bullish in the long term, but is going to set up a period of like this biggest like kind of hype cycle ever, I think. So yeah, I think that this is what we always wanted thing. I think it just comes down to most people, I don't know what it is like psychology wise, or most people are new or whatever, that they're just focusing so much on uh, the next few weeks. And I think it's just always going to be like that. And I think that's why the people who are able to kind of have a vision and kind of zoom out, those are the people who do very, very well. So, I think it's just a function of that. And then what was the second part of that? Oh, the
Well, the
trading.
first was, do you think this is what we always wanted? And then the second was, do you think there's merit to the perspective that we lose some value, some of the value we have in Bitcoin in
Mhm.
its decentralization factor and its security factor, in a sense, when it's in the hands because of the decentralization? I guess maybe primarily decentralization, that we lose some of that value now that we're getting so institutional. Things can be bearish and bullish, right? So, like, do you think there's merit there? That like
Yeah,
there are bearish perspectives of like all this big money suddenly being involved
yeah, for
and
sure.
the value of centralization, right?
Yeah, for sure. Great question. I think there's merit to the fact that maybe the marketing might change, that Bitcoin might be pushed as like a store of value in gold and stuff. It might be like a little bit of a marketing change from the original thing. But the way I see it is that Bitcoin, like Michael Saylor holding 2% of Bitcoin, while it is a concentrated amount, I don't think that him owning 2% or BlackRock owning however much they own, which BlackRock is not holding it themselves, they're holding it on behalf of millions of other people, so that's something different. But 2% of Bitcoin held in Michael Saylor's hand doesn't change the properties of it. There's nothing that Michael Saylor can do with that 2% to do some kind of voting or to do anything too crazy on that, unless, of course, he somehow held 51% of the network's mining or whatever, or network, which that's obviously not what he's doing. So yeah, I mean, there's merit in that. I mean, there's definitely going to be like a change of marketing when these people come in, and maybe it's not the same old cypherpunk, like decentralized anarchist Bitcoin as before. But with that being said, I don't think it changes it to the fact where it bastardizes it, or the people who really need it, like people in Argentina or wherever the fuck they need it to escape debasement or to send money across the world. I don't think Michael Saylor owning 2% of that of the cycle changes any of that. I think Bitcoin's properties of decentralization and everything that makes it great are still there, no matter how concentrated it is.
Yeah, well said. Well said.
For
What do
sure.
you think, for Loco?
Yeah, to be honest, I'm not. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm not too concerned about institutions owning Bitcoin, because I think we have to get past the point that it's just a sort of value. I think Bitcoin is way more than store of value. And if you think about like what's happening with gold and people, I mean, there's a gold rush right now in Texas and pretty much everywhere in the world where people are trying to acquire gold. I think the value of Bitcoin, it goes way beyond store of value, right? When you think about what it really does, aside from being
yeah,
a currency and a store of value, it really brings on-chain and digital assets really to the next level, right? You have to have an asset that you can trust. Obviously, stable coins are very important for that, but Bitcoin will play a key role in. To me, it's an asset that appreciates over time, but also serves as a hedge for all this macro stuff that is going on, and mostly currency debasement, right? So sort of value, currency debasement, transactions, obviously security wise, and there's some sort of like quantum computing thing that comes in the next 5-10 years. I don't think that it will ever be broken, hopefully. And it's one of the most secure, protocols out there, if not the most secure cryptocurrency. So not too concerned about it. Actually, I think it's a positive. Most people, anyways, that are listening probably, or that we speak with, don't own any Bitcoin. So I think it's overall a positive for the space.
Absolutely. Someone asked,
yeah, good points.
who do you, yeah, and great question, Gambler. Who do you, say my name says, who do you think will push alt season? I think just like every other quote unquote alt season, which everybody has a different definition, but alt season to me and traditionally usually means a time where multiple alts, like altcoins, memes, different sectors run at the same time. To answer your question, who do you think is going to drive alt season? The same people that have driven quote unquote alt season every time, which is normies or the general public entering crypto in a big way. And we saw that in 2017. We saw that in 2020. We have yet to see that for an extended long period of time since the bear market bottom of 2022. We saw it briefly. I don't know if a lot of you guys were here, about 8 months ago in November. Just briefly, there was that TikTok wave with Chill Guy, a few of these other coins. In the Telegram channel, Boss Man Calls, which if you guys definitely check that out. I know a lot of you guys are in there already. Um, in the Telegram channel, I remember we got a big influx of a couple thousand people within that week or two. I think what's going to drive alt season is those same normies, and I think when Bitcoin hits price discovery this next time, we have regulatory clarity. Crypto's been in the news a lot lately. We're going to finally get that push of normies coming with alt season and kind of pushing an alt season. Now, is that something you should count on? No, like I'm not having all my eggs in like if we don't get an alt season, we're fucked or something. I think just like we saw when Bitcoin moved up last year, maybe even if we didn't get a quote unquote alt season, we could still get like memes moving up regardless. So I think we do get a traditional alt season, and I think it'll be pushed by the same people that push everyone, which is the normies coming in. Yeah, I want to catch up on chat really quick. We're like 20 minutes behind. Brent, ask the boys who will explode the alt season. We already said that. Normies will love buying fart coin with their Tesla profits. Yeah, exactly, bro. That's just an insane world where you can be doing that. Robinhood is a lucky charm, Bren. Buy more Robinhood. Yep. It's summer, 40 Celsius outside, people on the beach, and you're calling it Altseason. Brother, like all the signs are there. Do you really think we're going to see Altseason or the cycle is different? I think the cycle is different, and we will see Altseason still. Both. I think there's a lot of people like naturally in their mind they try to pit shit against each other, right? Like, oh, it has to be this cycle is different or Altseason. Like, I think it's obviously a different cycle, and I think there will be a lot of the same things of last cycle too. Did any president ever did anything they sold during a campaign? Elon just bored. Yeah. I think ETFs are making crypto kneel to Wall Street. Not very good. Do we think ETH will pump in the coming bull market? Yes. I think ETH, who knows ETH, Sol, which one outperforms which. I think it's just good to hold both, but I think ETH is probably like all this regulatory clarity and all this stuff we talk about. I think ETH is going to be the biggest winner of all this blockchain adoption, right? It's because ETH is the biggest L1 blockchain, and it's going to get most of the tokenized stocks, most of the real world assets, all that stuff. And in turn, I think ETH, the token, is going to go absolutely nuts in the process. So, yeah, I'm extremely bullish on ETH over the coming months. I think Elon and Trump are doing this to manipulate. I don't know. I think they're really pissed off at each other and they're just hotheads. I don't know.
You guys see the note that Trump wrote Fed Powell? I think it was circulated somewhere on Twitter. I don't know who posted it, but it was too funny. He actually signed a note that telling pretty much Powell that he was too late, Powell, again.
He said,
did you guys see that?
he said we have a moron at the head of the Fed. He's a moron.
But it was a note actually addressed to him, and I think it was sent to his desk or something. That one, yeah, that's hilarious. No, go above. That one. Because we are nearly, I think the U.S. is now ranked almost like 40 in interest rates, which means there's a lot of countries that already have, pretty much lowered their rates, whereas we still are, pretty much waiting in this waiting mode. So I thought it was hilarious that he also signed it.
He said, Jerome, you are as usual too late. You have cost the U.S. fortune and continue to do so. You should lower the rates by a lot. Hundreds of billions of dollars being lost. No, what does that last thing say? No, I don't even know. But damn, he's got a crazy signature. Anybody see that? Is that a fucking his signature?
Yeah,
it's like a heartbeat.
Everything
Also, he clearly doesn't know how to use quotation marks, right? It's a pattern I'm noticing. He just puts quotation marks around anything. I don't know why he has them around too late right there. This is hilarious, though. This looks like it should be in like a Looney Tunes episode with like Bugs Bunny comes and writes all over your homework or something.
Yeah,
I know.
I wonder sometimes if Trump is like literally a 5-year-old trapped in an 80-year-old. His mindset literally is just like so unpredictable. It's crazy.
Yeah, this is wild. But I try not to pay too much attention to this stuff. It's just so much of it every day. And yeah, I'm not great at kind of picking apart the macro either. I let bigger brains do that. But when you see this come across the timeline, it's funny.
Yeah, and of course, there's gonna always be bigger brains that like macro economists, but like literally the biggest brains that I ever met, and the people who have the wealthiest and people who have seen the most success are the ones who tell you to ignore the bullshit. And yeah, of course, it's entertaining, but the people that make a mistake is people who try to attribute that to like where the market's gonna go. Like, oh, Elon, how is Bitcoin gonna go up because Elon and Trump are fighting? Like, I saw somebody today, and I'm not gonna say any names, and it doesn't even matter. It's somebody who I agree with a lot of other stuff on, but they're saying, oh yeah, I'm gonna get more risk on when I see Trump be more stable, like when there's just more stability with Trump. And it's just like I think what it comes down to is there's always going to be more chaos, there's always going to be another thing. But if you just look throughout history, every single time, yes, they create dips in volatility, whether it's a tariffs, Israel, whatever it is, but every time the people who ignore the bullshit and don't get all caught up in it and buy the dip or at least hold, they always do the best, and they're the ones who fucking make it. So, Yeah, it's interesting you say that. Definitely big brains who break down the macro, but the biggest brain traders I met or the investors are the ones that just ignore the bullshit
Yeah, good point.
or just not make a big deal out of it, right? That's interesting, but I do think that it will take a pretty good time before affecting the markets. Yeah, I don't know. Any thoughts on how much traditional stocks value will affect tokenized value? Um, you mean of
Hmm.
like uh, any thoughts on how much traditional stock values will? Are you talking about affect the tokenized value of that particular stock, um, or are you just talking about?
I think what he's trying to say is what we were discussing before, Bren, which is since these stocks are going to be trading 24 or 5, how do you really fetch, even if you have oracles like Pith on Solana or like Chainlink on Ethereum, really how do you really, I think there's obviously a premium to buy them on Solana. I think it's like a 10%, right? Premium versus buying it on Robinhood, which is free. But there's also the price fetching, right? Which is like if Tesla is valued at $300 here right now on the open market, and you buy it after the market closes, how do they fill that gap, right? So obviously there's market makers, there's liquidity behind it, but there's definitely going to be an arbitrage play there if you're smart to be able to, I guess, benefit or capitalize on that arbitrage. I don't know how that's going to play out. I think it's too early to tell, and I'm not sure how much volume and interest we're going to get from non-crypto users. So we'll have to see.
Yeah, for sure. Who knows initially what it does, but I think on an in a world where we do get kind of really good conditions for crypto here coming, towards the end of the year, which I think is going to happen. When there's demand for crypto, I think having those tokenized assets on Robinhood, I think will probably get a lot of volume at that time. But yeah, I don't know. To admittingly, like I haven't won. I've watched that Robinhood keynote. I've done read a bit more, but I would need to read into more like everything that's going on with liquidity and what it would mean for arbitrage and all like you're saying. Now, are you even on Robinhood? I haven't used it like in years. Are you able to withdraw your every crypto asset to another exchange? You can do that now, right?
Yeah, as far as I know, they've had that feature available for a while now, but I also haven't been on Robinhood in a while.
Okay.
But I
Yeah.
remember when they were first teasing that feature, right? Soon you'll be able to transfer. That was last cycle. I remember when they launched it. I'll say Robinhood's rollouts are pretty good. They're really good at getting people's attention in more ways than one. I mean, if you ever use the Robinhood app, it used to have confetti. They were told by regulators that they needed to remove the confetti because if it felt too much like gambling. Um, but yeah, long-winded answer. But yeah, they have transfers available.
No, that was a great answer. No, and I feel like that in that administration now they wouldn't pass that. I think
Yeah, right.
they'd welcome the confetti, like what I mean?
Yeah, more because it's not enough confetti.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They'd make them add more confetti, but yeah, no, Jay Lee, that's a great point, bro. Like mass adoption for crypto, unfortunately, the government needs to be involved, and I think we have it really fucking good. Honestly, I think the government, like a lot of people's biggest fear for crypto, was that the governments were never going to accept it, and if they did, they were just going to regulate the shit out of it, and they were going to make DeFi like KYC. But I mean, say what you want about Trump administration, like they've really obviously made it a really great environment for crypto where even though the government needs to be involved, it seems like their main goal, at least from what I've seen in interviews from different senators and what Trump's saying and stuff, is they just want to make it a place where there's regulations so that it can thrive in America. They're not really they're not really concerned with regulating the shit out of it and collecting a bunch of fees or too much taxes or anything like that. I think they're trying to make America the crypto capital of the world. So yeah, even though government's involved, I think we have it pretty good for as much as they're kind of being lax on stuff. Do you think Solana ecosystem is much bigger than ETH and Sol and can flip ETH in long term? I think anything's possible. Like I've seen such crazy shit. I remember XRP flipped ETH for a little bit in 2018. So many, nobody who would have thought BNB is going to be up as high as it is. Like, so who knows? My bet though, I think Ethereum has such a stronghold in the institutional world already, with BlackRock and stuff building on it. Plus, they have um, what's it called? What's it called? Just the way it's set up to deflationary supply, all these different things. My bet, I think if I had to guess, I think ETH is still gonna not only stay above Sol, but I think the bet is that not that Sol will beat ETH or flip ETH. I think the unpopular opinion, but what may likely happen is that ETH eventually flips Bitcoin, maybe 2, 3, 5 years down the line. I think it comes down to, for me, and this has been my view for a long time, is that Ethereum, the platform, and everything that's going to be built on it, tokenized stocks, real world assets, real estate, every contract can be an NFT, all these different things, everything going on chain essentially, with Ethereum being the biggest chain. I think eventually the block space demand that brings is going to make it worth more than Bitcoin, the digital gold, or store value. Again, that could take 5 years, could happen 2 years from now. That's my bet. Yeah. Do I think a Solana ecosystem is much bigger than ETH? I think it's big in the meme coin ecosystem, which is kind of really easy to focus on. But overall, I think ETH still stays a higher market cap, to be honest. What do you think, Filico? If you had to guess, if you had to bet 2 years from now, if you had to guess, like, where is Sol higher than ETH in market cap, or is he still on top? I don't know if you're muted or you can hear me.
Yeah, sorry, I was muted.
No worries.
I think ETH definitely could be bigger than Sol. I'm not sure ETH will be bigger than Bitcoin in market cap. Just by looking at the pretty much the adoption level and adoption curve for Bitcoin. I mean, like gold pretty much double market cap in the last few years. It went from I think it was like 13 trillion to 20 trillion, and then Bitcoin is still what it is in its infancy of adoption, like global adoption. So I do think that it will track gold. I don't know if it's going to surpass gold anytime soon, but I definitely don't think that Ethereum will surpass Bitcoin's market cap anytime soon, and maybe never. That's my perspective. But I do think that Ethereum will be larger than Solana with all this upcoming adoption on chain for sure.
Interesting. 2%. How much is that? I think he has. I don't know. You have to look up. There is how many mini coins? I don't know how many coins are in circulation. You have to look it up. The total 3 chart, a better way to read alt health. Yeah, exactly. We went over this last week. I think total 3. A lot of people talk about Bitcoin dominance, but I think total 3 is kind of the best gauge of the health or the strength of altcoins and meme coins. For those of you who don't know, total 3 measures the total crypto market cap minus Bitcoin and ETH, which are the 2 biggest coins. So it's includes all the biggest altcoins, memes, everything like that. And I think every time the total 3's gone up, so too have it's kind of just been a really strong period for the alts. So I think total 3's coiling up into a big low right now. I think it's on the brink of making its next move higher, which what this is going to come with is that strong meme or possibly a full blown alt season, like I was talking about prior to the show, or on the top of the show. So yeah, good. Thanks for bringing that up, Phillips. Making stocks on Sol shows how good it is, other than a blockchain, in my opinion. Yeah. A year ago, Bitcoin ordinals were a big thing. Thoughts on ordinals? To be honest, I've never really delved into ordinals myself personally, but I do think a lot of people are like, "Oh, are Bitcoin whales ever going to buy ordinals?" I think what's going to happen is if we do get good NFT conditions, meaning there's a second NFT bull run, which we really need to start talking about NFTs more here, which we will. I think we'll make a bit of a segment here. But if NFTs in general go up, conditions are good, I think strong NFTs of all sorts are going to do well, including ordinals. So, long term, are they going to be, digital artifacts, and are people going to be? I have no clue. But I generally over the next year, if there's a second NFT bull run, kind of where NFTs are kind of popping off again and strong, I think ordinals will do well. But other than that, I don't really have too big of much of an opinion. What about you, Gambler? You think say Bitcoin's at like a million. It's just tough to say. You think in a world where like NFTs are a big technology and Bitcoin's way higher, do you see ordinals like, being a thing? You probably have a better gauge on that than me.
Yeah, I love that ecosystem, first of all. So I have a huge bias to take it for what it's worth. But I think I love Bitcoin as a technology, as a blockchain, as a ledger, as a record. And I think art on chain, specifically on Bitcoin, makes a ton of sense. And it makes it easy. Yeah, obviously, you can move it around. You can track ownership. Courtyard is already doing dope things on the Polygon ecosystem with blockchain and ownership and verifying ownership. So that's a whole nother thing. But ordinals, I think art on chain makes sense. Art on the best chain and best technology and best record that we have, being Bitcoin, makes sense. Um, and I think I don't necessarily believe in every ordinal. I don't think every ordinal is going to make it. I think most will fail, just like the name of regular NFTs, right? Any NFT. But there are some that I think have already kind of shown their hand. Puppets, man, and I know those are a lot out of a lot of our price range, mine currently. But if I had to pick one horse in the ordinal side, it'd be puppets. Uh, Based angels are really cool. They're more, cost friendly. They're more affordable side, but they're super rooted in that culture as well. Obviously, shout out to the OMBs and yeah, there's a lot of stuff, and then they have Magic Eden support too. Magic Eden really has a lot of people on that team that are very bullish on the Bitcoin ecosystem in general. You remember when Runes dropped, they did a lot. The platform and the devs to push Runes, to educate people, put them front and center on the Magic Eden site. So also, people hate runes, right? And ordinals. There's like a lot of emotion there, which we were talking about this. I forget with which stock or coin we were talking about this last week, but there was when there's that much emotion, if it gets some volume, and again, the runes market and the ordinals market neither need a ton of volume to really make some big moves, and we've already seen it. That could be a real hated rally. I wouldn't count that ecosystem out. And bottom line, art on chain just makes sense to me. So even if you don't want to speculate and you don't see the vision in the casino, art on chain I think is really cool and interesting.
Yeah, right on. Great points. Diamond asks, what does it mean for the mid caps like House Mask when a lot of holders who love the communities are wondering, is it the best use of their capital to wait for them to come back? Um, yeah, man. So I think if you're gonna, if you're, hold on. I think if so in meme coins, there's a big thing going around like the last few months is that you should never buy and hold meme coins. The only way to play meme coins is just getting in and out and whatever. And I beg to differ. I think there's obviously every time Bitcoin's kind of corrected and came out of these big corrections, the strong memes have had a resurgence. But I would just say for House and Mask, House specifically, I have big belief in. For the people working on it, the concept. Mask, I haven't really dove too much into it. I know there's some good people working with that. But what I would say, man, is I've seen time and time again, starting with Mog, which kind of really woke me up to the fact that there is a strength in like meme coin communities other than like Doge, and that you can build up a community from a few million market cap to something massive. Like I saw Mog during its first big correction at 9 million market cap, and saw these guys, go from the just rating and stuff that everybody does now to just building it to $1 billion plus market cap coin a few months ago on Coinbase. I would just say for House, Mask, any of these coins, if you really believe in it and you think you have something there, um, I would say make sure you're invested in some more, stuff that's been around, the stuff that we know is going to go crazy, SPX, Giga, Mog, all that stuff. But if you really believe in this coin, I've seen a lot of these coins go from zero to go to big things, and especially in a world where I think meme coins haven't even seen close to the peak of people and volume that are going to be in it. I would just say if you really believe in it, just keep going. Because I've seen time and time again. small communities and small coins grow to these huge things. So yeah, I mean, it takes you're always, if you're buying and holding and believing in something during these corrections, it's always going to be brutal. It's different than buying Bitcoin, ETH, Sol. It's just it's a different game, and if you really believe in it, you just sometimes you got to eat big corrections. But 1,600 people in here throughout this hour. Really fucking appreciate you guys for being on. Everybody who's stuck around during this time and still paying attention, still learning. Every time I've done that in my crypto, journey, that's the time, like during the next bull run or during that next period of bullishness, that's where I've seen the most results. So shout out to you guys. Make sure to like, retweet, comment, follow everybody on the panel. If you guys haven't already, check out the Boss Man Calls Telegram channel. I know a lot of you guys are in there already. It's in my bio here. Definitely, I'm super active on Twitter. Love being on Twitter and everything like that. But all my more in-depth analysis, like bigger write-ups, kind of longer videos and stuff, I post in the Telegram channel along with my business partner, my buddy Boss Man, who is provides a lot of good stuff on the meme coin side and the majors and stuff as well. Throughout this period where it's been pretty quiet, we've been still posting some pretty consistent trade ideas with Zeus and a lot of these other coins that 10x, 5x. So trade ideas, meme coin calls, giveaways, all that good stuff. Definitely check that out if you haven't already. Gambler, you got any streams coming up? What else? Where else can the people find you? Twitter, or are you on any other platforms?
No, I'm just on Twitter, and this is the only. Well, actually, I guess this Friday I'll be hosting a. Well, it'll be a space. No, it'll be a live stream with the OKD team. That's one of the teams I work with. That should be fun if you guys want to check out a new Soul collection or new to you. But besides that, man, I'm really just mostly doing these streams right now. And then I mentioned to you, I think before we started, I'm interviewing at some places right now as well. So we'll see what the next few weeks look like. But this is really the main stream I'm on right now. And yeah, check me out on Twitter. I've followed a few of you guys back already.
Love that. Yeah, definitely go shoot Gambler. Becoming a really good friend of mine. Gambler and I connected, I think, a few months ago. But seeing him on some of his streams and stuff of his own, he's always just comes with great energy, great insight on all different kinds of stuff, and always has something great to add. So he's been a fucking great addition to the show, and yeah, he's a lot of great things to say. So definitely check out his Twitter. For Loco, definitely check out his stuff as well. Him and I have been doing these streams for like almost a year now. He's the one who actually got me into streaming, so always super fucking grateful for him. Obviously, you've heard him on the past few shows with the drop in knowledge. Anything else for Loco? Anywhere else they can find you? Anything else you want to plug, brother?
Yeah, of course. So you can obviously find me on Bridge Tree Labs. It's the community we started back in 2022. It's a community of 1,000 investors. We have an NFT called B3L Beasts, and it gives you access to a bunch of smart people that we have in our team and in that community where we share our thoughts, market thoughts, trades, etc. You can take that out. And then I recently started a Substack. I think I told you, Bren. It's on my profile, and I'm going to be writing there. It's a free newsletter. Again, sharing some of my market thoughts, not that in depth as I do for our community in Discord, but it's going to be pretty much talking about really my areas of expertise, which is energy, AI, and crypto, and the conversion of all of those in the modern era. I don't have any articles just yet, but I'm cooking a few articles here, a few posts in the next few days. So stay tuned and subscribe because it's free. So check it out.
Beautiful. Yeah, everybody definitely check out the Substack. And yeah, like I said, follow the stream. I'm sorry, make sure to follow my page, turn on notifications. We do these streams. Again, we're not logging off yet, but just wanted you guys to know we do these streams twice a week. Tuesday, like I said, today at 1 p.m. PST, and then 10 a.m. on Friday. As the market heats up, we're going to be probably venturing off to some Twitter spaces. We want to be able to bring the community up to not only, talk with us and chop it up with us in the chat, but maybe ask some questions live. So if that's something you're interested in, definitely let us know in the chat, and we'll probably do that next stream. Loving the stream, gaining good stuff in a short period of time. Yes, I appreciate you for being here, Lanton. I don't know, I haven't seen you here before, so appreciate you. What are your sectors to look out for in Q3? I think memes are going to continue to be strong, especially those cult meme coins in the the 100 to billion range right now, which we'll go over here. We're going to go into meme coins right after this. Memes obviously are going to continue to be strong. I think DeFi is already popping off. A lot of these older DeFi coins. That's a place I would look for. I think gaming's eventually going to pop off. Anything around AI or RWA. I'm talking about like actually AI tech, like TAOs and all this other stuff that's going to come out of there. But yeah, I think it'll be memes, gaming, some AI stuff, RWA. But if we enter kind of like a normie hype cycle or like this kind of big push of capital entering crypto, then I think a lot of stuff's going to run. But those are a few that I'm really focusing on. What's the best altcoin which is undervalued in your opinion? Altcoin, I really like Superverse. Again, gaming might take a little bit to pop off. I think AVAX, Avalanche, XRP, I really like at this level for just like an obvious move to 2, 3, 5x from here. There's a few. Tau, I really like. Normal Phenomenon. Thanks for all you guys do. Thanks for being here. Nikhil says, true Trump instability not going to happen. That's like water to wine, not going to happen anytime soon. Yeah. Do you think Bitcoin is becoming too stable? No, I think the kind of the corrections every 6 months that we've had, kind of the moves up and then the stop and consolidation or corrections every 6 months is healthy. And that's what's going to allow us to keep moving up over time, and less likely that we see this big 75% bear market like we've seen in the past. Government is always involved, whether they admit it or not. Yeah. Which altcoin? Okay, you already asked that. Cheers, Brand, for the insight. Love listening to the conversation. All right. Think chat's bugging, not seeing my questions. No, I see you, brother. What do you guys think of Kea? We'll look at Kea here in a second. I mean, in my opinion, a few more years. Okay. For the but yeah, let's go into memes. I think, of course, I've been pretty adamant that I think what's gonna UFD. I haven't heard from that in a minute. He's on live stream every day for 6 months, spreading the good word. Yeah, we'll check up on UFD, but traditionally, I think memes, which have been strong the last couple years, will continue to be extremely strong, especially if we get newer people coming in, because memes have always been, and I think will remain, the place where most of the new capital enters crypto. Because obviously, newer people into crypto, they want to buy what they think is fun. They don't understand the tech as much. Meme coins is that place that it usually goes. So I think meme coins will go back up when Bitcoin bottoms out here around that time. And I think that's close. So for me, I'm just continuing to accumulate my main 10 to 12 coins, which is again the Gigas, Mogs, SPX, ticker Bitcoin, Fartcoin, and then a few new ones recently, like not as much buying because it's been going up, but USDUC, unstable coin. I really like the team behind it. Some good friends of mine are directly working on it and doing some stuff behind the scenes with it, on the back end. And I just really like the idea in general. I think stable coins are going to continue to be a huge narrative in crypto. And I think the meme / schizo, like whatever joke version of it, whatever you want to call it, is going to continue to have a strong narrative. At 24 million, I could see this with good conditions continue to do really well. To me, it just checks a lot of boxes. Chart looks strong. Like I said, good people behind it. And just the narrative, I think, could continue to do well. And then I've just been continuing to buy some house coin as well. Even though it's down 80 or 90%, these 80 or 90% corrections tend to be the kind of the rite of passage for any meme coin. I'm talking MOG, Giga, SPX, Pepe, all of these coins have gone through an 80 or 90% crash at some point, right? And this is the first one for House Coin. Same kind of thing. I think it has the makings of a lot of like of a movement coin, a good community that's still pushing, and yeah. So I've been buying some House Coin as well, but I expect all of these ones to not only do really well, but because they've been kind of around a while and have been through these big tests before, I think these are the ones that are going to go to the high billions of market caps. So that's what I've been continuing to do. And, I don't think there's only those 10 or 15 that'll do well, but I think the name of the game for me, at least right now, has been focusing on those 10 or so and just buying those during this corrective period. For Loco, you've been buying any? Well, first of all, actually, Bra, are you with us right now, brother? I don't know if you can hear us pop in whenever. I know you probably have a lot to say on memes, but for Loco, you've been adding to any memes? I mean, what are your thoughts on
Yeah.
everything in memes right now?
Yeah, I mean, outside of memes, no, of course. Outside of memes, I've been building a position on hype. I think it was many months ago when I told you that I started buying at around 18. I wanted to add before that, but there was a lot of FUD going on with Binance trying to hijack the protocol and the liquidity behind it. So, long story short, I started to buy at 18, and I've been adding pretty much on every other dip. And the recent dip that went to 30 as well. So hyper liquid really is probably one of my largest positions. It's not a meme coin, but it's heavily related to trading on crypto. And then the other two that I've been focusing on, I just posted them actually on my Discord with a little bit of technicals that I'm looking for is Farcoin and SPX, which I think SPX we share in common brand. And then Farcoin, it's really my number one meme coin conviction that I've been adding pretty much at every other point. Remember buying a 300 million market cap, 200 million market cap back in December, and then again in April I bought around I think it was 500 million market cap, and I've been adding since. So Filecoin is actually right now at an interesting inflection point. I don't know if you guys are looking at the chart. I normally look at 4 hour time frames, but you can also look at the daily. So yeah, I've been chopping it up with my friends here in our Discord, and really really getting close to certain levels that are starting to get attractive again. I think anything under $1 is exciting, but mostly if it gets on that 0.85 to 0.95 range is when I would think of adding more heavily on Farcoin. And then on SPX, I don't know. You guys tell me. I think it's starting to also look like it might reach certain support levels. It's hit this like 108, 110 level a few times, and it has bounced. So I'm looking right now for a strong bounce, and if it doesn't really bounce back, then maybe we have further downside. So, what are you guys' thoughts on SPX and Farcoin?
Yeah, I love SPX and Fartcoin here, especially SPX. Just like I was showing you guys on Bitcoin before, how Bitcoin coiled up earlier this year and then came out of it. And now it's forming kind of a shorter term coil up. Same thing with SPX. You can think of what's happening now as the same thing we're seeing here, what I like to call a corrective coil up, where the coin is essentially coming down, but sell pressure is pretty weak, and we're just waiting for buy pressure to essentially take back over. So I think that's the same thing happening with SPX. Probably comes down a little bit more, might come down to retest 9.7, might come down to 8.8. For all I know, maybe it chops down and makes another low. But I think in the next few months, same thing with Bitcoin, I think SPX is going to rip way higher. And the fact that it's doing so well right now, I think SPX, goes to 3 to 5 billion pretty quickly, and gets up there with, a lot of the bigger coins. So yeah, I'm super bullish on
I think
SPX.
it's exciting to see that the coins of the cycle are being picked. I think obviously, I guess you can break it down in different cycles, but when you look at the on-chain volume, Filecoin and XPX have been probably the leaders in the respective chains. Obviously, you have, as you mentioned, Housecoin, you have Rect on Ethereum, and Housecoin on Solana. You have other ones that are also exciting. But if you had to pick the leaders of what you think could be, again, this is a meme coin. There's nothing really of a safe bet, but where you would park some of your capital aside from the main L1s or Bitcoin, I'm
Yeah.
definitely picking SPX and Farcoin as my number one picks. And if you had to
Yeah.
go down the kind of like the risk curve, you can pick up smaller ones. But I do think that these are poised to do at least 5x, if not 10x from here.
Yeah, for sure. I think. Yeah, I think. Hold on one second. Sorry, I had to mute something. But yeah, no, I think they've been the leaders of they've been the leaders when during this time where everything's been conditions have been shitty, and that's there's something to say for that. Usually, the coins that do well during shitty times do really well during times, good times. But with that being said, I think a lot of coins are going to do what SPX is doing, and it's just leading to the upside now. I think the Gigas, SPX, or Gigas, Mogs, ticker Bitcoins are going to do, a lot of what SPX is doing. SPX is just doing it first. So, yeah, it's definitely a good sign that SPX and Fartcoin are kind of leading here. And I expect a lot of others to do the same here soon. UFD Ron has done a live stream every single day for 6 months. Yeah, no, let's check on the UFD chart here for a second. But appreciate the stream, bro. Love the content. Always makes me feel way more bullish. Fuck yeah, Josh. Shout out to you, man. Very overlooked, kind of anxious after what happened to Mantra, though. Have you been in the trenches at
Yeah,
all?
I've been cautious about any RWA token and Onda too with bad tokenomics. To be honest, I never really look into Mantra, but I heard some weird stuff going on right before they had that hack or rug. I don't know what they call it, but yeah, cautious about RWA tokens. I think overall, I'm bullish on the sector or on the niche industry, but not sure I want to pick any coins just yet. Clearpool looks a little bit okay. There's also CEX Exchange, or I think it is called. But there's a few other ones, but I don't know. They're difficult to pick, and I think that space is poised for disruption from the black rocks of the world and bigger institutions. So that's what I would say.
Right on. Have I been in the trenches at all? Nothing runs like they used to. No. I like to I'm just more, if you can't tell from the streams, just like really big on buying and holding. But I do like buying and holding like coins that have kind of been in the game for a little bit longer. But when conditions are good, I do play in the quote unquote trenches sometimes, just with a smaller amount of my portfolio. But yeah, no, conditions during these times, conditions for new coins, it's just really hard out there. I think you know if it's fun for you and you want to improve your skills, like definitely don't stay completely away from it, but I would just claw back and pull back a lot of your trading and activity and be very very cautious, because it's if you trade the same way you trade now as you did early last year or late last year, you're going to get rinsed. So the right RWA tokens will go nuts. Yeah. What is the most underrated altcoin for you right now? Most underrated? I don't know. I think a lot of the if gaming and a lot of these like kind of under underlooked or whatever sectors pop off, the leaders in that are always going to pop off. So that's really why I like Super and some of these other coins that we may be a little bit early on, but I'm willing to wait. Also check out AWS Finance. Why is the reason most say Fartcoin directs the market sentiments? It's just a kind of a meme and joke, and some people are joking. Some people there's some truth to it that because like for Loco put it down that Fartcoin, despite all this bullshit that's been going on with tariffs and whenever Bitcoin's been correcting, like Fartcoin's been doing really well. So some people say, oh yeah, it's like an indicator for risk on or whatever. How much truth is that going to have like long term? Who knows? But yeah, that's why people saying it or say it, because Fartcoin has been doing really well during a time where the rest of the market's been not doing much. Do you think
Yeah, it is a clear indicator at least of. I think Filecoin really mixes up two things. It mixes like the sentiment of CT, right? Like people that are in crypto like daily, and also Wall Street investors that actually like to gamble, they go to Farcoin, right? Because it's the easier way. It also has no fundamentals, right? So the reason why it's so reflective, and also so not just reflective price action when it comes to macro, but it's also so well. It's such an efficient and liquid kind of like coin, right? Like whenever something happens, it goes up and down, it gets bought again. It's just yeah, I haven't seen. I wouldn't have actually forecasted or thought that Farcoin was going to be going to be one of the leading indicators for the crypto health market, or the health of the crypto market. But it has this cycle, and so far, every time that there's either a geopolitical conflict or Fed Powell speaks or anything else, Farcoin is going to reflect that before anything else, and it's super interesting to see. And so far, it's been working. So I would just buy it, not even for the fundamental reason, but just because it has clearly got into the mindset of pretty much everyone, and they are all expecting that if crypto conditions keep being positive, Farcoin will reach new highs very soon. So just as you mentioned, Brent, I think you have it there on the chart. There's a clear, there's pretty much this last few months has been kind of like ranging, and I think we might be chopping for a little bit more until we find a point where people start bidding aggressively. So that's how I see it.
Yep. Let's look at Troll. Let's see. Troll. Haven't looked at Troll in a minute. This looks pretty corrective. I would expect. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. I think Troll, from what I've been seeing, pretty active still. I still see a lot of people posting. Still have a lot of people having the Troll masks and shit. Chart wise, this looks pretty corrective. Kind of already moving out. If it's able to break here above 0.022, I think it's going to continue to rip. So this is exactly kind of what you want to see while the market's heating up. Bitcoin's finishing up its correction. Is it starting to creep up towards this last bounce high? So if it's able to break up above that, I wouldn't be surprised if it just goes straight back to all-time highs. But if Bitcoin comes down, don't be surprised also if it comes a bit lower. So chart-wise, this looks corrective. This is what you want to be seeing, kind of corrective, choppy price action during these corrections. So overall, looks pretty good. SPX's community is unmatched. Yeah, I agree. Time in the game, great community members, great content, probably one of the best content and editors. The videos and those cinematic like things they make are really fucking good. And yeah, I'm really bullish on SPX long term. Potential on not aware potential of AVAX. Yeah. AVAX is the best chance of bridging the Web 2 gaming. Yeah, I'm really bullish on AVAX when it comes to gaming. My handle, yeah, so my handle is actually Bren Trades with two S's, brother. There's two S's on my at. There's some other bozo who has a at Bren Trades. So somebody want to DM him and tell him to sell it to me. I'd love that.
Have you tried to DM him or not?
Yeah, I did a while back.
Yeah.
He hasn't read it. I don't think he's active.
Hmm.
Bro, share we are so close to 2K. Yeah, almost at 2K. 1,900 people at a minute 30 have been on here at some point. So I think that's a record for us. So fuck yeah, I really, really fucking appreciate it. This is probably the most active the chat's ever been too. So fucking amazing. Do you have any thoughts on Maple Finance Syrup? Yeah, I heard Syrup's actually doing really well on this DeFi run. You know anything about Syrup for Logo?
Is that the token for Maple or?
Yeah,
I heard of it. Yeah, they launched recently, right?
Yeah, in November it looks like.
Yeah, yeah. To be honest, it's been ripping higher, and I wonder if it's because of all this on-chain kind of like RWA liquidity that is coming. And I know that Maple actually also focuses on loans and lending to certain businesses. with their protocol and their. But more than that, I haven't been following the syrup token, but it looks like it's pretty bullish. So yeah.
Yeah, I think it's been moving a lot because of the DeFi RWA like adoption, TradFi adoption narrative. But I mean, dude, I wish I was looking at this in fucking December, January. This consolidation, which you'll hear me talk about a lot. The number one thing you look at that almost every major top or bottom consists of is consolidation, kind of holding a higher or low, high and low for multiple months. And the fact that it came out of here, consolidated out of the bat, off the bat for 4 or 5 months, however long this is, 2 months, what is this? Yeah, 3 or 4 months, and then just ripped, extremely fucking bullish. So whoever caught this, I don't know, whoever asked about this, small peach, if you caught this, brother, congratulations. I mean, obviously, big move up. If you're trying, obviously, who knows, in the short term it could continue to correct, but I would not be surprised to see it move, into the billions with the strong DeFi and RWA narratives happening. Grass as well. I don't know too much about grass.
Yeah, I remember Grass many years ago. There's like an app protocol where you could farm, and but I don't think it's been that exciting lately. And I don't even know how many users do they have on the platform. But I do know that they had a lot of like adoption outside of crypto for their app. So again, anything that comes with rewards, airdrops, and staking, I normally tend to always like do my research, because sometimes you get stuck on these tokens for many years, and it's really difficult to get your liquidity out, or you're stuck for years, right? Because you have to go, pretty much like agree to a certain time where you have your tokens like locked on their pool. So I don't know if that's part of what's happening with Maple too, with incentivizing their users to stake and earn a certain
Yeah.
yield. But yeah, I don't know. Really, grass. I probably the peak of my attention was like December 2023. That's when everyone was farming it for an airdrop. So it's been a while.
Yeah, and the stake and earn thing like worked really well for coins like Cardano and ADA and all these other coins in the past. So I mean, I don't know if they're doing buybacks as well, but both of those things in combination usually leads to some powerful moves up. But Kamel asked, what other things we should be looking for in the new meme coins except bundles? Yeah, so that's why time in the game is so powerful, and going through these big corrections, because there could be some great idea or some great movements or great coins that look amazing, but you won't really know if they're going to stand the test of time, if they have a community that are going to stick with it until it corrects 70 to 90%. What a lot of people view as like this huge terrible thing for a coin, which is these big corrections, you are actually the thing that determines whether they're long-term great coins or not, right? So what I would say is there's definitely some characteristics that I like to look for a coin being brand new. Like if it's a movement where people are focused on something other than price go up, if there's like a really strong community, sometimes if there's like a strong, like I said, movement or idea behind it. But again, we don't really know if these coins are legit long term until they go through these big tests. So that's what I would say. Sui for gaming too. Yeah, Sui. I think Sui will continue to do really well. Some interesting stuff going on with the Pokemon thing and a lot of other stuff they're doing. Talking of AVAX, how do you feel about Beam? Haven't looked at Beam in several weeks, but I have some Beam. I was accumulating it a few months ago, and yeah, it's been mostly consolidating for the last few months, but I don't know. I'd expect it to move higher. It did a nasty double top back in December, but yeah, I'd expect Beam to maybe chop out a little bit longer here and then probably head back up. Do you think stock market crotch is necessary for Altseason? Stock market correction is necessary for Altseason markets booming. No, we've seen in the past stocks have moved with crypto, without them. Sometimes stocks move up in tandem on their own. Sometimes crypto moves up. So I don't think we have to see market correct, but it could happen. I think generally, stock market will rip up with crypto over the next several months. Josh says, last question or thing for right now, says, only been in the game for about a year now and trying hard to get into it and just feel like I'm going nowhere. What's the best piece of advice for new traders and what to do to help learn about it more? Amazing question, Josh. This is exactly the questions I love to answer. What I would focus on first and foremost, brother, is crypto. Like, I hope we've really made evident in the streams and my posts and stuff, is that crypto is just getting started. Yes, Bitcoin's been around for 15 years, but we're now just getting the acceptance of, the institutional world and the media, and like it's becoming a a universally loved thing. We're getting regulatory clarity finally after 15 years. Crypto's just getting started, brother. So give yourself time. I know, like, you really want to make it and you really want to, see short-term success. Everybody does. But just know that you're in an industry that's growing at the right time, in the right place. You're in streams like this, in your good communities. Like, give yourself time. That's what I would say. First of all, is like, don't be so hard on yourself. Focus. Give yourself a few years where you're just focusing on nothing but learning and getting better and networking and all that. Aside from that, some advice that you can take right now and run with, I think, is a few things. Focus on, one, setting up a profit taking system, right? Because everybody can find a few plays every once in a while, but most people either sell all their bags too early, like it goes up 2x and they sell everything, or most more common is they round trip everything. So you want to set up a profit taking system where you take profits set up on the way up based on certain milestones. You want to have your portfolio set up in a way where it's heavily, based in the great assets. And then two, I would just focus more so on the buying and holding game. Like, buy and hold good assets during these corrections. Don't listen to anybody tell you that you have to trade in and out on small pairs. I think long term for everybody, especially newer people like yourself, just focusing on buying and holding good assets and taking profits on the way up, and just focusing on learning and building those skills. And give yourself a
Yeah.
few years, brother, and you're gonna do great. You're gonna put yourself ahead of most people. So I hope that helps. Would
Yes,
anybody else have anything to add to that?
yeah, no, for sure. I will echo what you said, and I will also say, Josh, since you are new to this, don't use a lot of leverage. In fact, if you can, avoid leverage. But if you have to use leverage, always with a small portion of your portfolio, and ideally no more than 3x leverage, so that you are, at the end of the day, you're gambling, right? When you use leverage, but you want to make sure that you don't cross that line, especially when you start to get greedy. And leverage really can destroy your portfolio and can destroy pretty much your interest in crypto. I've seen a lot of people leave because they use leverage in a irresponsible way. So that's one. Second, as Brent mentioned, I would say try to buy assets that have withstand multiple corrections, whether they're like multi-cycle, right, many cycles, or at least a few years, and they have either a team behind it or a strong community. If it's not a fundamentally driven or utility project. And then the other one, I would say, as Brent said, join a group of people that you can trust and they can help you guide you through corrections, difficult times, and good times. Because the ones that are really there will be in the bad and good times, and they will help you, improve your trading game and your investing game. And I guess the last one is, whenever you look at any chart, try to always buy it when think about how you feel in a day when it's going down, and the same feeling that you have when it's going up. And you have to train yourself to buy on red candles, not on green candles, especially if you want to hold an asset. So those are not to you. I honestly would recommend everyone following this because I do it myself. And that's the way to last multiple cycles and not get wrecked. So
Beautiful. Gambler, anything for our good friend here, Josh?
Yeah, man, it's tough. First of all, give yourself grace. It's tough to beat the market. Trading is hard. What is it, like less than 1% of people actually are successful trading. And the more you do it, I think that success rate even goes down. But then there's things to be grateful for, right? Like Bitcoin is not financial advice, but Bitcoin is a pretty solid asset. If you like crypto, you probably like Bitcoin. And what's worked for me is like establish the fundamentals, DCA Bitcoin, DCA things that you have conviction in that have a little bit more fundamentals, maybe some stocks if you like that, and then bankroll management. So it's like managing your emotions and then managing your bankroll is like so much easier said than done. And I've definitely got more than my fair share of round trip stories, like Brent just mentioned. Uh, but yeah, man, just stick around, DCA Bitcoin, and you'll probably do better than most. You're definitely gonna do better than most traders. And then beyond that, don't be afraid to experiment, try new things, but manage your bankroll, and you'll be fine. That's that's where I go wrong a lot of the time. So, but yeah, and then give yourself grace because it's tough to beat the market. It's not easy, even though you see PNLs every day on the timeline.
Yeah, for sure. I think setting up your portfolio more in that investor bucket with Bitcoin, ETH, and Sol being most of your portfolio, and then using a lot of these other coins to take profits into those is always good. Though I do think we're going to enter a period where some of these meme coins will be here for years to come. Not most of them, but a select few. Josh asked what was in the mind. Give yourself time to grow. Absolutely. Have patience. It won't happen overnight. Like, this is my 5th year in crypto, and it still feels like I'm learning something new every day. Yeah, it's got to be like that. Like, it's like kind of cliche, like to like talk about work ethic in crypto, at least, like talk about work ethic or learning and all that stuff. But it's the same shit as anything. It's like if you put in time learning and growing your mind and as far as like, you know, new things you're looking at and different mindsets and stuff like that, the more you're going to get out of it. What's your say on taking early profits like 2 or 3x? Yeah, absolutely. Taking like a 25% off, 10%, 50%, whatever at those 2 or 3x and getting risk free, that's amazing. Unreal advice. Thanks, guys. Huge appreciation. Huge appreciation for you for being on here, man. Seriously, this is what I live for. I love this shit. Basically, it's a gamble, so you create your own strategy, but it's always good on taking initials. Yeah, exactly. And yeah, initials or anything off, really. I think crypto runs like mad for a few days and remains sideways for months. Yeah, that's what a lot of people are thinking. I don't. Do we go sideways or down for a couple weeks? Sure, but I just don't see uh Bitcoin chopping for a few months like most people are thinking. Shout out to Rojam. Rojam, I just read your message along today. When I had time, I was definitely going to shoot you a more detailed response. But shout out to this guy. This guy's probably been the most consistent, like person on every single show, giving me feedback, positive, um, constructive criticism on every show. So definitely shout out to Rojam. Check him out. Shoot him a follow. But he says, if I could go back and do it again, I wouldn't try to drop all of my capital in a short period of time. I would plan to only try to invest a part of the overall capital each month. That way, I can't overspend, and I also have capital to take advantage of a sharp correction. Exactly. Always having dry powders just gives you a lot better quality of life. You feel a lot better during these corrections. Wag me to whoever's on the charts. Specifically, if you're trenching new pairs or small caps. Yeah, no, Kamal, I really wanted to get to the chat now that we have a lot of new people entering today. I think that I haven't seen it at least in a bit. Wanted to make sure to get to all your guys' questions. So yeah, as things heat up and there's more opportunities and different stuff going on, obviously there will be more to talk about. But I think we just wanted to get across this message that I think this may be, obviously no FOMO, whatever, who knows, anything could happen. But I think this may be one of the last opportunities to really get in a lot of buys in a lot of these coins before things really take off. Because I mean, all you have to do is look at Bitcoin, what it does, or I mean, what crypto does every time Bitcoin comes out of these big corrections. The good shit goes up, and I don't think anything's different. And if anything, what's going on with the fundamentals and all that stuff is going to make it more likely that we have a big, huge, long-lasting kind of hype cycle. So just hit 24 or 2040 views throughout this stream. Big influx of people. I posted in the channel today, so Telegram channel. So really fucking appreciate everybody on here. We're just getting started. Like I said, we do these streams twice a week, Tuesdays and Fridays. Fridays a little bit earlier, which is 10 a.m. PST. Tuesdays, 1 p.m. PST. Going to continue to do these shows. Going to continue to have great guests on and hear different people's stories and perspectives. Because I know there's a lot of you out there who, trade the bigger cap coins. A lot of people trade perps like myself, and a lot of people trade meme coins, lower cap meme coins. We want to get everybody's perspective because there's a lot of underrated people out there whose story needs to get heard. So definitely, if anybody's listening here who has any questions and who wants to come up next show, I think we are going to have a link where you guys can come up and ask questions live. So shout out Jay Lee. Shout out Sarah Waddy. Shout out OX. I think I'll be on here for another 15 or so, but first time joining the stream, and I gotta say, every advice I've heard is pure gold. Thank you for this. Shout out to you, Vin Cux. Let me know. Did you where'd you find us, the channel? Just from the Twitter feed? Let me know. That's great talks. I'm learning a lot. Fuck yeah. I think I'm gonna leave it till next stream, but just to tease it a little bit, what we're gonna end up doing too is, obviously you guys know I love doing the stream, and I think a lot of people are watching the stream after they're over in its entirety. But we live in a world where clips are obviously very, very important. Shout out to Soul. Love you. Shout out to Vincux. Fucking we live in a world of clips are everything. And I've been putting up clips on my own channel, and some other people have been doing it. But I would love to do it something where we can get some more clips out there that also incentivizes everybody else to participate, clip, and also maybe win some USDC. So what I'm going to do next week is a little bit of like a competition / giveaway where, if anybody wants to clip any of the clips from the stream, and I don't know how I'm going to do it exactly, how the criteria, but we're going to pick a few clips every single week and give away USDC to somebody who clips the stream and puts out these clips. Because again, I just want to get this out to as many people as possible, and get out the these different stories and stuff we're talking about on here. And I think clipping is the best way to do it. And I want to give everybody else an opportunity to be a part of it. So definitely get ready for that. OP and ARB. Yes, I'm super bullish on the L2 tokens. Such a laid back chat. Great advice as always. Yeah, especially during this time, man. I really want this to be not just a show, but a conversation between us, the chat, everybody. Nikhil says get Bossman on live as well. I'm glad you said that. Bossman and I, and we're going to feature a lot of these other guys as well. But Bossman and I are going to be doing a stream together as well. Apart from this stream, we're still going to do these streams twice a week. Bossman and I are going to do a stream together starting in the next few weeks. So look out for that as well. So super fucking excited for that. Clipping is a gold mine. Maybe I can cook something up. 100% Jaylee. That'd be much appreciated, brother. Good idea. I'm down. Clips are a big thing for real. Yeah, no, clips are everything. Like I hear what's it called? Aiden Ross talk about lately that clips, he doesn't even really care about live viewership anymore. It's just all about the clips. Never heard Bossman voice, I think. Go check out his Twitter page. He has a video with a clip that he put together. You can hear his voice. Appreciate you, Juicy. We'll be excited to see you there. Looking up to that. Oh, did Furloco's off, huh? Gambler, you still with me?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah, Embermain, that's his voice. We put out clips of myself and him The one that's the English sounding one is Bossman. Clearly, I don't sound very English now, do I? No, that was terrible. Brennan Bossman alive will be fire. Yeah, Gambler. Anything else we missed this week, bro? I know, obviously, Robin Hood, big topic. Anything crazy that we missed between the last stream?
Uh, Not. I'm checking my bookmarks. I saw I have something noted that Germany's largest bank, Deutsche Bank, to launch crypto custody services in 2026. That's kind of cool. But no, man, Robinhood was really all over my time. But and again, both the news and the actual stock. It's only a matter of time before we see $100 Robinhood. So shout out to everybody who got in on that trade. But besides that, it's just been weeks though too, right? I mean, last show we talked about the Pengu ETF. That was crazy, and then of course the Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac uh, preparing to count cryptocurrency as a mortgage asset. So a lot of things going on. Hopefully, we get more easing to this tariff stuff and the tension in the Middle East, and we continue this bull market. You're on mute if you're talking.
My bad. Thank you. But yes, another thing that my boy Can't Stop Me Now and I were talking about last night. I saw this Solana advisor Nikita Beer joins Elon Musk X as head of product. Crypto payments on X coming soon. I mean, crypto payments on X are supposed to be coming up here soon. The X, what's it called, X payments or whatever. Does this guy Nikita, who is one of the biggest advisors for Solana, a lot of talks about crypto stuff. If you look at head of product, I was looking with Can't Stop Me Now last night. Pretty much the head of product is in charge of the company's vision and like all these big things. So could this be a signal that a big push from X from blockchain related is coming? I don't know. What do you think, Gambler?
Sorry, I just had to take a quick call. Could you repeat the question, bro?
Yeah, no worries. I was just, you might not even have really an opinion on this, but Nikita, this guy, I don't know if you know too much about him, but he's a advisor to Solana. That's what it says in his bio, and he talks a lot about tech and crypto. He's the new head of product for X, which head of product, if you look at the definition, is in charge of the company's like vision for and all these this big broad title. Um, Many are speculating this could mean that there's a big blockchain push coming for crypto X payments. I don't know if you saw this.
No, I missed this actually.
Yeah,
Bullish though.
yeah.
Crypto people are everywhere though, man. Like it really is inevitable. And then there's so many builders here that are going to go out and do things like this, join prominent teams, and we know Elon likes crypto too, right? So wouldn't be surprised. I remember when they you remember when they implemented the NFT
Yeah.
PFP?
Yeah, and I believe that was right before Elon came in, and he kept it around for a bit, and then
Yeah,
they did away with them. But yeah, you're completely right. Elon likes, he's been really early on crypto stuff, but just in general, he tends to be ahead of the curve and years ahead of. I mean, we hear all these big companies coming and putting Bitcoin on their balance sheets. Tesla did that 5 years ago now, so Elon's super ahead of the curve always. So I wouldn't be surprised if he's one of the first mainstream applications that fully integrates blockchain, kind of how Vlad or how Telegram maybe is doing. I wouldn't be surprised if we really quickly see a X stablecoin, and then from there, probably the acceptance and the ability to use crypto assets in whatever payment application they have coming or payment push.
yeah. I mean, and he's already paying creators, right? So he's not, these the money aspect is already or the tech is already there. I can't see a way where crypto doesn't make that much easier, right, and more frictionless.
Exactly. Nikita Bier is one of the Believe founders. Yeah, Believe. There's a lot of stuff been going on in the Direct Believe app. I kind of want to know your thoughts on all that, Embermain. But yeah, I think traditionally just Believe, whether it's Believe or another of these apps or whatever, just the ability for founders to raise money through tokens, whether it be NFTs or like a fungible token, I think is the future. So I'm not surprised that Nikita is a believer in that. Imagine sending Soul to your followers on Twitter. Yeah, exactly. That's what the vision for X is. Elon's been very, very adamant that he's trying to turn it into the everything app, right? With payments. And obviously, if the world is adopting crypto, crypto should be a big part of that, I'd assume. Payment equals Doge gets utility. Yeah, I'm sure Doge will be one of the first. You can using a project named Nyla send a lot of tokens using one sentence on X. That's interesting. Believe has a bright future if Pasternak can be a little less stubborn. Interesting. Future is loading indeed. Yeah, I think we're gonna get off here in a few minutes. I just wanted to hop on with everybody. I mean, shout out to everybody who's on here during these times. I know not a lot going on, but just continue to just stay patient. If you're, feeling stressed out, you're wondering what's going to happen. Like I said, I'm very bullish on obviously the long-term future of crypto, but charts even in the short term are telling me very likely we're heading higher. But even if we go back down for 2 or 3 months, just know that the future of crypto is extremely fucking bright. You're in the right place at the right time, the right people like this on the stream. So I would continue to dig in. Maybe, obviously do what you got to do, handle your responsibilities in real life. But I think having being involved in crypto and buying and holding great assets, um, you're in the right place. So really appreciate you everybody for being on here. Like I said, we'll be back on Friday at 10 a.m. PST. Follow everybody on the panel. I think we'll have Bra on next time. I think he might have had some technical difficulties, but follow the Telegram channel, Bossman Calls, if you're not already in there. Follow everybody on the panel. Turn post notifications on so we don't miss the next one. And Gambler, before we leave, anything to leave the fucking people with?
No, man. Thanks for tuning in. It's been a great show. Thanks for having me as always, Brent. And looking forward to the next one.
Yes, sir. Shout out to our producer and my buddy Can't Stop Me Now. Shout out to Bra. Shout out to For Loco. Shout out to every fucking single one of you guys. Shout out to Humbled Wines, my buddy Jeremy, Tom, Jay Lee, Ziddy, fucking everybody. Love you guys. And I'll see you on Friday. Have a great rest.